Good morning, students, and welcome to another online classroom of St. Michael's Academy. Today, I am going to discuss spinal cord, peripheral nervous system, and hindbrain. So, let's start. Hindbrain or rhombencephalon is the lowermost portion of the brain. It is present in between midbrain and spinal cord. It consists of metencephalon, that is hindbrain proper, and myelencephalon or medulla oblongata. So first, here we are discussing about metencephalon. The metencephalon is the embryonic part of the hindbrain that differentiates into the pons and the cerebellum. It contains a portion of the fourth ventricle and the trigeminal nerve, that is cranial nerve 5, abducens nerve, that is cranial nerve 6, facial nerve, that is cranial nerve 7, and a portion of the vestibulocochlear nerve, that is cranial nerve 8. You can see metencephalon because the division of metencephalon are pons and cerebellum. So actually this is pons and this is cerebellum. So total this pons and cerebellum both are under metencephalon. So first we are discussing about pons and cerebellum. What is pons? Pons is the part of the brainstem that links the medulla oblongata and the thalamus. You can see this diagram. Here this red color portion, this is pons. The pons contains nuclei that relay signals from the forebrain to the cerebellum. So pons basically is a link between the forebrain and cerebellum, along with nuclei that deal primarily with sleep, respiration, swallowing, bladder control, hearing, equilibrium, taste, eye movement, facial expressions, facial sensation, and posture. So that we can say that actually what is pons? The convex white eminence situated at the base of the brain and connecting midbrain and medulla oblongata is called pons. Pons connect the right and left sides of the cerebellum basically. In pons, the pneumotaxic area and apneutic area, that is centers, are present which control breathing through inspiratory and expiratory centers present in the medulla. Pons serves as the site of origin of 5, 6, 7 and 8 cranial nerves which maintain several functions. Now next one is cerebellum. The first question is, what is cerebellum? Cerebellum is the largest part of the hindbrain and second largest part of whole brain, lying posterior to the pons and medulla oblongata below the occipital lobe of cerebrum and providing posture, body balance and coordination of skilled movement of the body is called cerebellum. Cerebellum is situated under the occipital lobes of the cerebral hemisphere and dorsal to the pons and medulla oblongata. It is attached to the pons and medulla by 3 pairs of peduncles, that is bands of nerve fibers. You can see here in this picture This portion is cerebellum. It has already been marked over here. So functions of cerebellum, you can say that cerebellum maintains normal muscle tone, controls the posture and equilibrium of the body, maintains the normal erect posture of the body, regulates the voluntary movements of the body. It may be said that the cerebrum initiates movement and the cerebellum regulates them. So that you can say the cerebellum receives information from the sensory systems, the spinal cord and other parts of the brain, and then regulates motor movements. The cerebellum coordinates voluntary movements such as posture, balance, coordination and speech, resulting in smooth and balanced muscular activity. You can see this diagram: eye, nose, ear, tongue, lips. That means our 5 sense organs. That means tongue. Lips means tongue. Our 5 sense organs connect with this organ. Histological or internal structure of cerebellum. As previously mentioned, the grey matter of the cerebellum is also referred to as the cortex and may be split into 3 layers. The outer molecular layer, please see the diagram. The outer molecular layer, this layer, the middle layer of Purkinje cells. This is middle layer of Purkinje cells. This black color, this type of cell, Purkinje cells. And the last one is inner granular layer. This is the inner granular layer. So molecular layer, Purkinje layer and or Purkinje cells, and inner granular layer. So 3 layers. Its histological or internal structure consists of 3 layers. Now, external structure or only structure of cerebellum. The cerebellum can be separated into 3 lobes. The flocculonodular lobe, see this structure diagram. Flocculonodular lobe, this one, this blue color. Next, anterior lobe, that means this orange color, anterior lobe, and posterior lobe, that means this green color. The medial zone of the anterior and posterior lobes constitutes the spinocerebellum or paliocerebellum. Medium portion, that means this one, spinocerebellum or paliocerebellum. The cerebellum as in the neocortex fissure and the posterior lobe below the primary fissure. So everything in this diagram, hope so you have understood. Now, another part of hindbrain, that is myelencephalon. Myelencephalon consists of medulla oblongata. Okay, now see, the medulla oblongata is the lower half of the brainstem. So this is the brainstem, and this portion is the lower portion of brainstem is called medulla oblongata. The medulla oblongata is responsible for regulating several basic functions of the autonomic nervous system, including respiration, cardiac function, vasodilation, and reflexes like vomiting, coughing, sneezing, and swallowing. You can see this structure. Medulla oblongata is there and it is responsible for cardiac function. See, heart beats, heart is beating and is directly connected to medulla oblongata. So I've just given you one example from its function, that medulla oblongata is responsible for cardiac activities or cardiac function. So that we can say the cone-shaped lowermost part of the brain extending from the lower end of the pons up to upper end of the spinal cord is called medulla oblongata. One thing you should remember that medulla oblongata is the last portion of brain which connects brain to the spinal cord. In medulla oblongata, respiratory, vasomotor, cardiac and salivary centers are present. These centers regulate respiratory, vasomotor and cardiac activities, saliva secretion respectively. It acts as relay center for touch sensation. It controls the visceral reflexes. Medulla oblongata acts as site of origin of 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 cranial nerves. Now we are going to start spinal cord. It's a very interesting portion of human body. See this is brain and this is spinal cord. A column of nerve tissues that runs from the base of the skull down the center of the back is called spinal cord. See, this is brain. After brain, spinal cord starts. It is covered by three thin layers of protective tissue called membranes. The spinal cord and the brain make up the central nervous system or CNS. You see this total central nervous system has been shown. Brain and spinal cord with craniospinal nerves. Spinal cord nerves carry messages between the brain and the rest of the body. That only has been shown over here. These are the nerves. This is spinal cord and this is brain. So total completes central nervous system or CNS. The meninges or covering refer to the membranous covering of the brain and spinal cord. There are three layers of meninges known as the dura mater, arachnoid mater and pia mater. So three layers covering of brain and spinal cord is called meninges. Now histological or internal structure of spinal cord. You can see this diagram. Gray matter at the center and white matter outside this. This this is the way and this is just opposite in case of brain. There white matter at the center and gray matter outside it. So the spinal cord is the most important structure between the body and the brain. The spinal cord extends from the foramen magnum where it is continuous with the medulla to the level of the first or second lumbar vertebrae. It is a vital link between the brain and the body and from the body to the brain. So spinal cord segment, you just see dorsal median sulcus and septum, this one. Dorsolateral sulcus, this one. Central canal, this one. This is gray matter, this is white matter. And this is ventral medium fissure. This one is ventral medium fissure. Now next one, you see this diagram. Actually spinal cord, histological structure of spinal cord consists of grey matter and white matter. So grey matter, centrally placed grey matter in the shape of a butterfly or like the letter H is surrounded by the peripheral white matter. So you see here, this is the H, half portion of the H. So grey matter at central shape of H, central canal lined by ependymal cells. Central canal, legs of the H form, legs means one portion of H. Anterior horns, posterior horns, anterior horns, posterior horns. Neurons, large and multipolar. These are the neurons, large and multipolar. And another one, white matter, that is peripheral. That means this portion is white matter. This portion is white matter. Means this portion is white matter. These are the neuron, blue color, and this is H-shaped. This is gray matter. Now, functions of spinal cord. The spinal cord functions primarily in the transmission of nerve signals from the motor cortex to the body and from the afferent fibers of the sensory neurons to the sensory cortex. It is also a center for coordination or coordinating many reflexes and contains reflex arcs that can independently control reflexes. Now we are going to start peripheral nervous system or PNS. What is PNS? The afferent and efferent nerves which connect the different parts of the body with the central nervous system combinedly form a system known as peripheral nervous system or PNS. Actually, peripheral nervous system or PNS is divided into two parts. One is craniospinal nerves. It is divided into two parts, spinal nerves, 31 pairs of spinal nerves and 12 pairs of cranial nerves. And another part of PNS is autonomic nerves. Autonomic nerves divides into two parts, sympathetic nerves and parasympathetic nerves. So one by one we are going to discuss this. First, we are starting cranial nerves. What is cranial nerve? Cranial nerve actually links with brain. The peripheral nerves originating directly from the brain stem and making their exit to the periphery through various openings of the bones of the cranium of the skull are called cranial nerves. You can see this diagram. Here these yellow colors are cranial nerves. They are opening through the various holes of the brain, various pores of the brain. This yellow color, all yellow color lines are cranial nerves. So your cranial nerves are pairs of nerves that connect your brain to different parts of your head, neck and trunk. There are 12 of them, each named for their function and structure. Each nerve also has a corresponding Roman numeral between 1 to 12. Now see these 12 pairs of cranial nerves. You have to remember this, so better you learn this. First one, olfactory. This one, olfactory. Second one, optic. Third one, oculomotor. Fourth one, trochlear. This one. Fifth, trigeminal. This one. Sixth, abducens. This one. Seventh, facial. This one. Seventh, facial. This one. Eighth, vestibulocochlear. This one. Number 9, glossopharyngeal. This one. Number 10, vagus. That one. Number 11, accessory. This one. And number 12, hypoglossal. That is this one. That is related to tongue actually. Hypoglottis of the tongue. So these are the 12 pairs of cranial nerves. You have to remember the names of all and functions also. Functions also are very, very important for all the 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Now, the next part, that is spinal nerves. What is spinal nerves? A spinal nerve is a mixed nerve which carries motor, sensory and autonomic signals between the spinal cord and the body. In the human body, there are 31 pairs of spinal nerves, one on each side of the vertebral column. So this is the vertebral column and cervical C1 to C8. Thoracic T1, T for thoracic, T1 to T12. Next one, lumbar L1 to L5. Sacral S1 to S5, and last one, this purple color is coccygeal. that is only one pair. See now cervical 1, that means C1 to C8, that means 8 pair of cervical nerves. Next one, 12 pairs of thoracic nerves. Next one, 5 pairs of lumbar nerves. Next, 5 pairs of sacral and 1 pair of coccygeal. So these are the actual divisions of spinal nerves. Their functions are also very important. So please read this from your book. Now the next one is autonomic nervous system. The nervous system which controls the activities of the visceral organs without our will is called autonomic nervous system or visceral nervous system. It is subdivided into two parts. One is parasympathetic nervous system and another one is sympathetic nervous system. Basically, parasympathetic nerves connects with cervical and sacral region. You can see this is cervical region and this is sacral region. And sympathetic nerve connects with thoracic and lumbar region. So these are actually thoracic and lumbar regions. Hope so you have understood the basic concept of parasympathetic nervous system and sympathetic nervous system. As autonomic nervous system has been subdivided into two parts, sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves. So first we are going to discuss sympathetic nerves. These nerves originate inside the vertebral column toward the middle of the spinal cord in the intermediolateral cell column or lateral horn, beginning at the first thoracic segment of the spinal cord and are thought to extend to the second or third lumbar segments. You can see this one total the process how sympathetic nerves works or what is the chemical mechanism of a sympathetic nerve. It has been shown over here. You can see these are the ganglia rather. Now in the next step we can see that within this ganglia actually what is happening. Acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter, has been secreted from the synapse portion and the total mechanism is going on. And the another one is the parasympathetic nervous system is one of three divisions of the autonomic nervous system, sometimes called the rest and digest system. The parasympathetic system conserves energy as it slows the heart rate, increases intestinal and gland activity, and relaxes sphincter muscles in the gastrointestinal tract, as it actually serves nerves in sacral regions also. So sacral region actually comprises of sphincter muscles in the urinary bladder portion of our excretory system. So that we can see the mechanism of parasympathetic nervous system, that you can see excitement. This is nervous system total mechanism and this is the inhibition and excitement occurs. For any doubts or queries, please email me at sudeshna1.sma@outlook.com. We also welcome your responses by way of your views and feedback on the PPTs or videos at feedback.stmichaelsacademy@gmail.com. Thank you students and have a nice day.